Healthier Choices Management Corp is a company we have been talking about on this channel for the last 3 months. I mean, we have seen the highs, we've seen the lows, we have seen basically everything since the hype started with this company. And what I want to continue to do is to update you all on my opinion, not only when it comes to technical analysis or not when it comes to news, but just my opinion and let you all know how I feel about little discussions or arguments that go on or little the different feuds that go on things like stock twits or Reddit, etc. And so that is exactly what we will be talking about in today's video. Now, one discussion that I've been seeing going on a lot that I actually got messaged about from a Patreon member of mine is going to be the fact that some people are saying that HCMC should be trying to drag this lawsuit out as long as possible for a few different reasons. Now, personally, I don't believe this to be so, and it might not be as obvious as it may initially think. So what I want to go ahead and do is kind of talk about what these main points that they're presenting are, and then talk about why I just don't think that it would be the most rational idea. I hope you guys do enjoy today's video, and let's go ahead and let's jump straight into it. So the first point that's being presented is the fact that the longer this lawsuit goes on, the more that Philip Morris would have to pay HCMC if HCMC was to win. Now, this is true, and that's one aspect about a lot of the different arguments from this side of the discussion that I would say, there's a lot of truth, but I feel like they're not providing all the information. And again, we're all on the same side. We all want to see HCMC win, but I think that we need to be a little bit considerate, especially with so many new investors in it. And let's not present too much information without providing everything, right? So let's think about it. Well, the longer this goes in, why? What are some reasons as to why HCMC would get paid more? Well, the first one clearly being the fact that they would have to pay more in court fees. They would have to pay more to get this overall case going. And if they were to win, then of course the judge would typically have Philip Morris pay out their court fees or pay any of the damages that HCMC took due to the fact that they were the ones being the victim in this situation, right? Well, let's also consider something else. So whenever we consider the fact that Philip Morris has a product in which HCMC believes is infringing on their 170 patent, the longer that Philip Morris sells this product, the longer that they have it available and being sold to millions of customers around the world, the more money they are generating from said product. So we have to think about the fact that if this goes maybe 10 months, the majority of the money being made over the last 10 months and then even time before that has been made from a product infringing on another company's patent, well, typically the company will have to pay damages out for the amount or a very substantial amount of the money being generated, right? So say if HCMC does win this lawsuit, which I truly believe they will, of course they will be paid out a good bit of the revenue being generated by Philip Morris from the product that infringes on their patent. So yes, the longer this goes on, the more IQOS products they will sell, the more money they will generate, the more they would have to pay out to HCMC in damages. True. But we also have to consider something else. Let's think about these two different arguments. They'll address the first one first, and we'll come back to this second one here. So the first one, again, the court fees. Well, yeah, but it doesn't make too much sense. Let's just sum this up pretty quick. Well, we have to consider the fact that as HCMC goes on through this lawsuit, they're going to be paying more. They're going to be paying more court fees. They're going to have to be paying a lot more, things that are going to go into this lawsuit to get it going. When at the end of the lawsuit, if they win it, Philip Morris has to pay. It's more like a reimbursement. So it's not like, the longer this goes on, there's a multiplier on how much Philip Morris is going to have to pay them. No, they can only get paid for what they can prove they took in damages. So realistically, as this goes on further, HCMC is putting in more money, which increases the risk in order to get paid back towards the end. So yeah, the number at the end of the lawsuit may increase, and it may be even prettier, if you're on HCMC side and we add another $10-20 million in damages, well yeah, of course it's pretty. But if HCMC has to pay out that same $10-20 million to get this thing going and then assume all that risk, well, it's not really too worth it, right? So that's number one. Number two, let's talk about this IQOS product, and let's talk about that because I do believe that is one of the stronger points being presented right now. Well, this is how I think about it. This is all personal opinion. I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not anything like that. I'm just a guy who's been doing a lot of research and who has a camera. So let's think about it like this. I think about it in a situation where, true, as Philip Morris does continue to sell more IQOS products, they will then generate more revenue that could then be paid out to HCMC in damages if they do win the lawsuit. Very facts. The thing about that is, though, I think about it in the sense that if HCMC was to win this lawsuit, say now, what would happen? Well, of course, we would probably see a royalty agreement plus some type of settlement, maybe some type of big cash payout or something like that for the previous damages, which would, of course, help HCMC. And then with that, HCMC would likely generate some revenue every single time that Philip Morris sells their IQOS product. Well, let's think about this from Philip Morris' side to then think about if it's worth it for HCMC. Well, in a situation in which HCMC was to say, let this go for 10 months, and Philip Morris was to just sell their product for 10 months like normal, and then have to pay HCMC out in revenue. Well, yeah, that would be great. But let's think about it. What happens, again, like I said, if HCMC wins? happens right now. The lawsuit is over. They have to pay a royalty out. I'm going to make up a very wide random number of 20% just to make it easy to calculate. So say if Philip Morris makes $10 for every one of these products which they sell, which is not the amount they make, but again, we're just going to keep it very simple, very hypothetical. Say if they make $10 for every one of these IQOS products. If they have to take that number and then maybe cut off $2 or 20% of it and give it to HCMC in royalties, right? Let's think about that. Well, if we're Philip Morris, what are we going to do in that situation? Are we just going to stop selling IQOS products? Are we going to completely get rid of it because our profit margins have decreased? Are we going to, just not even want to sell it anymore because we have to pay a royalty out to HCMC? Well, no. This thing is generating them millions and millions of dollars every single week. What they would do is we would see a very rapid increase in their marketing for this said product. Whenever we have seen in the past that there's patent infringement, those companies will do the best that they can to deploy even more capital into marketing, or they will be doing everything that they can do in order to sell more to fill the gaps in which that were created through the losing of a lawsuit. So if HCMC wins this lawsuit, Philip Morris has to pay 20% out to them. Philip Morris is going to do whatever they can to increase marketing, to go on this campaign, to sell even more of these products to fill that gap so they aren't seeing too much of a loss there. They want to close it as fast as possible. What that means is they're going to be selling even more of these products. They're going to be getting them out even faster. And what does that mean for HCMC? That they're bringing in even more revenue than they would have if they let Philip Morris be comfortable, sell all these products, and then collect some revenue from those products in 10, 12 months after they were to win a lawsuit. Hypothetically, I don't think that's how long it'll take. I think it'll take even a little bit longer. But again, we're being hypothetical. So whenever it comes to waiting it out to let them collect more money from these products, I think they could even collect even more money from these products if they were to win this as fast as possible. Again, by applying pressure, making them have to sell even more to fill that gap. And then we could see HCMC really take advantage of the fact that they could take some of that revenue. So the next point that's being made, that's kind of it's a decent point, but I think it does have its faults as well, is going to be the idea that with HCMC stock being on a gradual decline, it does seem like, although we've seen a 33% day on Friday and we've seen some great outlooks today, it's been on a gradual decline, okay? And so what some people are saying is, why doesn't HCMC let this thing fall as low as possible so that when they win the lawsuit, or if they win the lawsuit, they will then be able to do a stock buyback at a lower stock price? Yeah, it makes sense. But like I said earlier, a lot of these arguments have their faults, and they have little moments that I think we're not adding all the information. And I think we need to consider that if they were to do that, how many investors are they sacrificing to do so? Because I feel like the longer this thing goes and the more interest that they lose, the harder it will be for us to see this thing 20x, 30x, 40x. Because the thing about it is, this is a stock that is moving off of hype. This is a stock that's moving off of volume. And so if we see a lot of that hype die, if we see a lot of this volume die, then I think we're going to sacrifice a lot of the gains. So yeah, long term, if they were to do a stock buyback at a lower share price, of course, that would be phenomenal because it would allow us to get rid of some of those outstanding shares. The market cap and the valuation might make a little more sense. And then overall, we can look at this as an investment. But in the short term and the midterm, it doesn't make too much sense for us to just let thousands and thousands of investors just leave this stock because they've lost too much money in order to do a stock buyback. And then at that point, there's really no investors around who even are interested in getting into HCMC stock as an investment within itself. So I think we have to consider things like that whenever we present those arguments. And I know this was a bit of a faster video, but the main purpose of today's video, again, is to just give my opinion on some of these discussions, because I think that I have a video coming out very soon. I think there's a lot of YouTubers and there's a lot of people, big major bulls whenever it comes to stocks, that'll put out information and they'll leave out certain aspects that I think will create a bit of a, not the clearest image of what exactly they're trying to say, and they'll kind of use a little bit of bias. And so what today's video was more focused on is trying to present my information and present my opinion from both sides, and I think that you guys do value that. I know you guys do appreciate that. And so it's something I will definitely continue to try to do. So overall, again, I don't believe that them waiting this out as long as possible is the best move for them. I think that the faster they go in, the more that they will be able to generate from royalties if IQOS product is, again, deemed patent infringing. And then I do believe, again, that they will be assuming more risk the longer this goes on. That can make it not so worth it. Lastly, to sum up the very last point, I think that if they were to wait this thing out to let the stock price fall even more to do a stock buyback, that would just be very risky in the sense that we would lose a lot of investors, we would lose a lot of attention, and at that point it may not even be worth it, or it might not even be capable of rebounding, even if they are to win the lawsuit. So those are my main 3 points. I know, again, this was a shorter video, but I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, now if you do want access to this info as soon as I do get it, if you do want access to the trades I make, my trade portfolio, and if you want access to daily newsletters, weekly watch lists, everything like that, go down to the link in the description. Again, it'll bring you over to my Patreon, and that's where I'm fully transparent with all that info. I'll be trying to bring you guys HCMC content, Castor Maritime, High Tide, all of these stocks that you guys absolutely love. I'm trying to ramp up production, and I will be trying to bring you guys this content every single day. So I hope you guys do enjoy. I hope you are looking forward to this new series and this new turn I've taken on my channel recently, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace.